Yeah, the topic we're looking at today is asphalt cracking. So, when you move around your roads, you see different types of cracks on the road. So, we're taking a look at a quick guide on cracks type and also the causes of those cracks and the treatment for various types of cracks. So, we'll look at the causes of the cracks, then the treatment for the crack types that we have. Yeah, for our table of content, so we have the introduction. So we are going to talk about a little bit of introduction into cracks. Then we're also going to talk about block cracking. Then we'll talk about fatigue cracking. Then we'll also talk about transverse cracking. We're also going to talk about slippage cracking. Then we'll talk about longitudinal cracking. Then we'll talk about edge cracking. Then reflection cracking. So we are going to talk about all these types of cracking, their causes, and the treatment for each of these cracking. Yeah, for our introduction, so we are going to be asking, why do asphalt pavements crack? So what is the reason? Why do they crack? So asphalt roads can develop cracks for various reasons. So we have extreme weather like very hot or cold temperature can make the asphalt expand and contract, so causing cracks. So when you have that expansion and contraction, so it can result to crack. When water penetrates the asphalt, it weakens it and makes it more likely to crack. So water penetration can also result to crack. So if the road was built with poor drainage, not enough support underneath. So if you have a poor drainage, then we have less support underneath the road. So poor compaction, less support underneath the road, or low quality asphalt. So when you make use of low quality material for your road surfacing, so it can lead to crack. So it is more likely to crack too, because many cracks occurs from poor material usage. And over time, as the road gets older, it naturally wears out and cracks develop. So when you've used a particular road for over a long period of time, it can actually result to cracking because of the too much usage of the road. So when you are making use of your road, you tend to do maintenance alongside with the road, so that as the cracks are coming up, the maintenance tends to take care of those cracks and put the road to shape. So we are considering the first type of cracking, which is block cracking. So what is block cracking? Block cracking is a series of rectangular cracks that are interconnected. So this is even popular because you see this on roads basically. So these are rectangular cracks that are interconnected. These cracks usually cover a big area of the road or pavement. So we'll dive into the causes. So the causes of this block cracking, we have the cracks may show up because of joints under the concrete pavement. Maybe when you have a joint, either one joint or more joints under the concrete pavement, then the problem could stem from the layer underneath the road, like cement or macadam has shot or gotten weak. So if maybe the cement structure underneath the road surface is weak, so it can actually result to this block cracking. Then inadequate slab thickness. When you are casting your maybe for your rigid pavement, and you are trying to cast your rigid pavement, the slab thickness should be as ascribed to you or described to you by your engineer. So it shouldn't be lower than the required thickness that has been given to you, because inadequate slab thickness can actually result into block cracking. Then the asphalt surface aging or hardening. So when you have your road being used over time without maintenance, proper maintenance. The aging surface can actually result to block cracking. So the treatment for block cracking, we have crack filling, whereby you tend to fill all those cracks. Then we have SAM seal, we have reinforcement seals, we have ultra thin overlay. Then we have SAMI or geotextile seal plus asphalt overlay. Then we have cold plane and overlay. Then we have in situ asphalt recycling and overlay. So these are just methods whereby you can actually fill those cracks, thereby treating this type of cracks, right? Yeah, the second type of cracking that we have is fatigue cracking. What is fatigue cracking? Fatigue or crocodile or alligator cracking is a pattern of interconnected or interracial cracks that create small polygons resembling a crocodile skin. So it's often formed in the wheel part and may show a noticeable longitudinal grain. So if you look at a crocodile or fatigue cracking, you don't even need to be told because of the pattern that comes with this type of cracking. So the causes of this crocodile cracking or fatigue cracking, fatigue induces structural cracks often associated with high pavement curvature values. Then inadequate pavement thickness. The other type of cracking will still look at the same thickness, inadequate provision for pavement thickness. Then we have moisture. So when you have too much moisture on your road surface, it can actually lead to this fatigue cracking. Then we have poor quality material. So material usage, you have to use the best material for your road surfacing, such as brittle or aged bitumen or low level aggregate. So your bitumen should be of the high standard, then your aggregate too should be of the high standard. You shouldn't use dead rock for your aggregates. Then inadequate compaction during the construction of asphalt or cementitious layer. When you have inadequate compaction, it actually tends to lead to this type of fatigue cracking. So the treatment for this fatigue cracking, we have non-structural treatment and we have structural treatment. So for the non-structural treatment, it looks similar to what we have in the previous slide, which is SAM seal, reinforcement seal, then ultra thin overlay, then SAM or geotextile seal plus thin asphalt overlay. Then we have cold planing and thin overlay. Then we have in situ asphalt recycling. So that is for the non-structural treatment. And for the structural treatment, we have drainage improvements in combination with treatments such as the overlay. So you are going to make provision for your drainages on both sides. Then we have SAMI and asphalt overlay, in situ asphalt recycling and overlay. We have cold planning and overlay, then in situ stabilization. You have to just do your stabilization. Either you stabilize the soil by mixing it with cement so that you harden the soil, right? Then we have a heavy patching and reconstruction. So you can actually overhaul the whole process and do a reconstruction. Yeah, the third one is transverse cracking. So what is transverse cracking? So an unconnected crack that runs perpendicular to the direction of traffic. So you can look at the picture, you can see the way it looks. So the causes of this transverse cracking, we have reflection of shrinkage cracks or joints from a cemented area. So when you have maybe a cemented part of the road, and you have that crack in between, the pavement, that is the surfacing, and the cemented part, then we have joint or crack formed during asphalt surfacing, often due to low temperature or hardening bitumen. Then we have failure in the concrete base structure. That is when you have your concrete base structure. So when you have failure in your concrete base structure, then shrinkage of the concrete slab as it cures because the joints were cut too late or the slab is too long. Then we have ground shrinking due to underground utilities or structures like bridges or culverts. Then tree roots growing into the layer beneath the pavement. Yes, because sometimes when you have tree roots, growing into the road pavement, it tends to give this type of transverse cracking. So the treatment for transverse cracking, yeah, we have crack seal, which is still similar for the other types of cracking. Then we have SAM seal, then reinforcement seal, then ultra thin overlay, then we have SAM or geotextile seal, then plus asphalt overlay. That means you use SAM or geotextile seal. Then in addition to that, you use asphalt overlay. Then we have cold planning and overlay. Then we still have in situ asphalt recycling. So you can actually, recycle your asphalt on site in situ. Yeah, the next one is slippage cracking. So what do you understand by slippage cracking? These are crescent shaped or half moon cracks that often appears in closely spaced running parallel to each other and are frequently linked with shoving. This type of cracking is commonly found in asphalt surfacing. So sometimes on the road you see this type of cracks in between your asphalt surfacing. So the causes for this type of cracking, we have weak adhesion between the wearing course and the underlaying layer. When you have your underlaying layer and you have your wearing course on it, so if there is no that adhesion between your wearing course and the underlaying layer, it tends to lead to slippage cracking. Then insufficient thickness of the wearing course. Then we have asphalt getting pulled beneath the paved screen during placement, then particularly in low temperature. Then we have elevated horizontal shear force resulting from turning and acceleration. Then unstable asphalt mix for specific traffic condition. Now, this is very, very important. Your asphalt mix should be according to standard. Then a base layer with low modulus, right? So the treatment for slippage cracking, we have the non-structural treatment and we also have the structural treatment. So for the non-structural treatment, we have crack filling, then we have cold planning and overlaying, then we have in situ asphalt recycling and overlaying. So for the structural treatment, we have just overlaying, then we have heavy patching, whereas in some cases you see where the road is being cut and you see the patching taking place. Then we have overhauling and reconstruction, whereby you can overhaul the road totally and start reconstruction. Yeah, the next one is longitudinal cracking. So what is longitudinal cracking? These are cracks that run lengthwise along a pavement. So they can appear individually or as a set of parallel or staggered cracks. So occasionally there may be some limited branching. So you're only going to have a crack, then limited branching along the cracks. Then longitudinal cracking often marks the initial cracks formation within a wheel part or not. So the causes of longitudinal cracking, we have when they occur individually. So we have two different causes, either when they occur individually or when they appear as a series of nearly parallel cracks. So for the first one, results from the mirroring of joints or shrinkage cracks in the solid base below, then can be caused by poorly executed joints in the top asphalt layer. So where during the construction your joint needs to be actually be taken care of in the right way. But if it is poorly executed, you are going to have all these type of cracks at the joint. Then may stem from joint displacement during pavement widening, and can also occur due to reflection of joints associated with road expansion. So maybe we want to expand your road, and the existing road and the expansion you want to introduce. So such where the two roads meet tends to actually bring about such kind of longitudinal cracking. Then when they appear as series of nearly parallel cracks, so we are going to have link to the volume changes in expansive clay subgrade. Then often a result of cyclical weakening as the pavement edge, then arise from differential setting between the cut and fill area. Where you have your cut, for your high volume, and you use the same cut to fill the low volume. So, and you do your compaction. In such area, you can have this longitudinal cracking. Then arise from differential settling between your cut and fill, then may result from the reflection of cracks in the cemented sub base below. So the treatment for longitudinal cracking can be drainage improvement. That means you tend to provide drainage for the road. Then sealing shoulders. That means you tend to seal your shoulders of the road. Then crack filling, you can decide to fill all those cracks. Then cold painting and overlay, heavy patching and reconstruction. Yeah, the next one we have is edge cracking. So what is edge cracking? This occur along the unsupported border of asphalt or sprayed seal surface, where the surface of an unsealed shoulder is lower than the level of the neighboring pavement surface. So the area where the seal meets the shoulder is subjected to crack due to traffic, causing abrasion and shear failure of the pavement's edge, often appearing as fretting. So this issue can be isolated to certain spots or extend continuously along a road segment. It's particularly common on sharp curves or area where the pavement edge is prone to tire wear and attrition. So where you have your tire wearing and you have some attrition, so edge cracking can actually come to play. So the causes of edge cracking, we have an improper road alignment or insufficient pavement width, leading to vehicle driving along the pavement edges. So when you have improper alignment, that means the alignment of the road is not adequate, or insufficient pavement width, that means your pavement width is not properly sufficient. The next point is neglecting to resurface the shoulder overlaying the pavement. So your road shoulder is meant to be resurfaced. So if you didn't give that proper resurfacing, it can actually lead to edge cracking. Then treatments for edge cracking. So we have resheet shoulder. That means you have to redesign and do proper implementation of your shoulders. Then bitumen stabilized shoulders. So that means you're going to use your bitumen now to stabilize your shoulders. Then seal shoulders. That means you're going to use your sealant now on your shoulders. Then local pavement widening. That means you can actually either increase the width of your pavement by widening the width of your pavement. Then we have reflection cracking. So what do we understand by reflection cracking? Reflection cracks occurs when an overlay of asphalt pavement is placed over an existing cracked or joint pavement structure. That means when you have asphalt pavement being placed on an existing cracked or joint pavement structure. So they can also arise in situations where asphalt overlays are applied onto existing asphalt roads without adequately addressing cracks in the original pavement. So that means placing your asphaltic pavement on existing roads with cracks. So you didn't actually address the cracks on the existing roads. So the causes of this reflection cracking is we have differential movement across the underlying crack or joint, particularly in the case of joint reflection cracking. Then joint reflection cracking occurs when the PCC, that is the Portland cement concrete, slab beneath the HMA, that is the hot mix asphalt surface, moves due to thermal or moisture changes. So when there's that movement, it tends to cause reflection cracking. Then these movements are usually not initiated by heavy loads, although they can accelerate the deterioration process. So this movement can actually accelerate the deterioration process. Then we have the treatment. Apply crack sealant for crack of low severity. That means when you have less than 13 weight, then with fewer cracks. So this prevents moisture seeping into the subgrade through the crack and raveling of the crack edges. So that means you tend to just do some little work around the crack edges. Then it's been generally noticed that rigid pavement joints will eventually become visible through the HMA overlay if surface preparation is not done adequately. So generally you have to do your surface preparation. Then we have remove the damaged pavement layer and replace it with an overlay if high severity crack, that means if it is greater than 13 wide, then are present. So if you have cracks that are greater than 13 then you have to just remove the damaged pavement overlay. Then you do another one. Either you do your casting back, or you find a way to do the surfacing again. So our recommendation, where to go from here. So prior to conducting any repairs, the first step is to conduct a visual survey of the cracking. Then visual surveys are common ways of collecting cracking data. Then the thoroughness and precision of a visual inspection may differ greatly from one project to another. So depending on how crucial the data is from identifying the source of the problem and choosing the right solution. So automated methods of cracking data collection, like the Automated Road Analyzer ARN, then LCMN. Then the LCMN unit can spot a broad range of issues simultaneously. The ability to collect more extensive data brings significant cost advantage in crack detection and pavement monitoring. So ARAN LCMS is our first 3D laser road filing automated road analyzer capable of undertaking automated measurements of the road, surfacing condition and geometry. So this analyzer tends to help to capture your geometry of the road, then automatically. Then we have the LCMS offers a key differentiator over other automatic cracks detection techniques in that it is 3D imagery system. So the system is capable of automatically extracting crack data, including crack types. That means either it is transverse, longitudinal, or crocodile, and the severity of the crack. So using this 3D analyzer, it helps you to analyze the data you have.